Yeah, man, one. I don't know if some of you have seen the video that a documentary that was made by this guy Matt Walsh. Matt Walsh is a Nick Fuentes type of guy also, and MAGA clan. Together, he is one of these Jordan Peterson kind of pundits, and Jordan Peterson, Ben Shapiro, and Alex Jones. Yeah, the cuckoo's nest. Let's leave it at that. But anyways, man, this Matt Walsh. He's one like Tariq Nasheed type of guy, extreme right, and loving the MAGA standpoints, man. But anyways, he made a documentary about the videos I was making, showing that then Trump was taking down the memorial, saying that slavery wasn't that bad. Now they've made a documentary about it. You see it, Tariq Nasheed? You had time to fight against Caribbeans and continental Africans, but this Matt Walsh, he's saying you are lucky that you was taken to North America. Yeah, what all the stories I was saying about plantation Negro was told that then the Africans they have to hate Africans. You're gonna see all the examples I was speaking about. They was teaching those then so-called Negroes on the plantation because I'm not from the plantation. I'm from the Amazon jungle. I was never on the plantation. They said some slaves ran away. That's their business. I speak on my house, what I know about my house. I defeated the colonizer. All this talk if you was enslaved or colonized and the colonizer taught you their way of thinking, you have a colonized and enslaved mind, so we cannot discuss anything. I'm autonomous. That's my disclaimer right there. So but anyways, man, this and Marquette Bertrand, what is his name? Marquette, he is a maybe he was his ancestors were with the French people, but anyways, Marquette, what Marquette Bertrand, oh Marquette, but anyways, you're gonna see him and he took it up. I've seen the documentary. I was gonna speak on it, but then I saw something about this and reveals, and then I was gonna speak on that, and then I saw this respond. I was like, but all you so-called FBA, what you're getting now is the same racism, discrimination, and hate you was giving these so-called tethers. The word tether was made up by these guys like Matt Walsh. Yeah, like the immigrants are tethering off the supplies in America. They are clinging on to the land. They are clinging on to the things other people should be using and all those stuff. And these black Americans took it and start using it against these called and the immigrants over there, black immigrants so-called in America. They are tethering while they are tethering off the land of the so-called Native American, unless you can prove differently. Yeah, that's the real talk. But what you're getting is really what I was telling you that this Caucasian will tell you. After you insist that they have done things to your ancestors, they will tell you, nigga, we didn't enslave anybody. Your own people sold you. And I seen even East Indians who came yesterday to Suriname like 100 years ago, like they know anything about my race, thinking they're gonna speak on anything like slavery. Nigga, when you come out and speak on your own race. We don't acknowledge your words. Yeah, that's what I'm saying in all my videos. My people don't acknowledge any race beyond our race. Your God or whatever you're doing, we don't give a jack about literally. Yeah, save yourself the trouble about thinking you're gonna convince people. I'm saying this for those broken people who think because your father is Caucasian or your mother is Caucasian, then you are black, so you have the right to speak in on behalf. No, we don't know if you're speaking on behalf of your Caucasian father or your Caucasian mother. That's why they called you mulatto to have the distinction that that you have your own place called colored. Yeah, if anybody hated to be called colored, that's their business. Yeah, a black man have black people have no Caucasian blood. Otherwise, a Caucasian is black. Yeah, Africans don't have Caucasian blood. Otherwise, Africans are Caucasian, and all the Africans can move to Europe today or to the Caucasus Mountain. That's what I'm saying. Alright? Mixed people in America are called mulatto. In Africa, South Africa, they have their own town or their own space. It's called colored town or whatever they call it. Colored people. They are called colored people. They exist. It's normal. They colored people have been existing for beginning of time since people have been mixing with each other. So I don't see the problem why a mulatto is not allowed to be president of United States of whatever the jack you think you're doing. I don't see the point about they have to be black, nigga. Why do they have to be black to belong? That's my point about all these videos. If you only wanna watch my videos because we are the same race, get the fuck on, nigga. I just make videos for those who wanna see it. I'm not making my videos for devils. We need to come together. Yeah, misery loves company. Hyenas walk in groups, lions walk alone. Yeah, that's what you don't know. Yeah, they are bug broken. That's why they have to come. And these people will tell you they are powerful, but they need other people. Something that is powerful is complete and need nothing else because hence it's powerful. It has ability. It's able. Only if you're not able, you're not gonna need external factors to come and join you. Yeah, if you have a pile of shit and you put more shit on it, it just becomes a bigger pile of shit, whether it's in America or on the continent. That's the real talk. But I've seen this and I'm like, man, I don't feel like I used to feel like, oh, let's attack this and Matt Walsh because he's speaking on this slavery stuff. No, man, that was before this and black Americans, plantation Negroes came out here, like even Surinamese people, Negroes from plantation writing books about my race when they are the enemy of my ancestors. No, you're gonna get it. I told you this Caucasian was just waiting for the immigrants to get out and then place you back on the field. Yeah, let's see it.
Chat GPT, it's extraordinary.
The African country, you've likely.
But this is again the low IQ.
So this is this what
That's
he says Marquette. What's his name? Marquette Burton. He's got a French name. Maybe he's got an French ancestors from the Haiti or whatever. But anyways, he's from the States, and he was even attacking. Yeah, whatever he's doing is his business. To me, it's more to demonstrate to you what I was saying to Tariq Nasheed. You have time to fight against Caribbeans, Africans, and continental Africans. Let's see what Matt Walsh is saying here about your slavery. Yeah, because this is the guys you are supporting with your FBA MAGA team. Yeah, I told you this is what they gonna do. Since you are able to fight against Caribbean Africans and continental Africans, they consider you now to be able. So all you sympathy looking for sympathy is gone because you are a powerful people. You have even stated that you are the most powerful people. Even this Marquette Burton said that the bombs they got over there, those people who got no homes, they are the richest one in the world still. But that's your business. What I'm showing you is what I told you that they told them on the plantation to hate my people in America jungle. Yeah, you will hear the stories now. Now I was telling you that this Caucasian was telling the Negroes on the plantation. Let's hear it. And even this Marquette Burton wants to, no man, how can you speak? Man, me, I don't care how this Matt was speak because it's their history. They are foundationally black American and plantation Negroes, smart as they are on from the plantation writing about my people when they were in the army of the colonizer. Black colonizers are dead. Yeah, but in here you're gonna see that they're gonna blame the African for everything. Whatever your conclusion is, if you sold anybody innocently, you are cursed. You've killed anybody innocently, you are cursed. That's my rule and my culture. That's the real talk. Let's hear it, man.
I support eugenics because of people like this. They're quite dangerous. I remind you guys that stupidity is evil. Stupidity is evil. You cannot be a good person while having a low IQ because you're inevitably going to make bad decisions. Stupidity is truly evil.
Put on a ship to New Orleans was really a best case scenario. If you think American slavery was bad, wait until you see what happened to the ones who didn't make it here. And we'll show you that over the course of this video. But first we start.
You hear the talks I was saying to you? This is why they used to say, those people in the jungle are stupid. This is what they used to tell the slaves on the plantation. Don't be emotional about it. Don't you hear they saying it still today? Don't be emotional. Lay and take it. That's what they was telling these Negroes on the plantation. You're better off here on the plantation. And the Negro would repeat it when someone like my race would come and get them off the plantation. They would say, where is there a better place than here with the Caucasian? The same thing Malcolm X was saying about the field Negro and the house Negro. Yeah, this is the stories they told the house Negroes like this, even this Marquette Burton over there. And he will tell you that the soft slaves was taken to North America. Almost 6 million slaves was taken. Well, if it's right, if you believe his narrative that slaves were taken from Africa or whatever. He said 6 million slaves were taken to South America and only like 500,000 were taken to North America. But there is 100 million Africans in Brazil. How come from 6 million to 100 million in so few years? And my people are more than Native Americans in America. Yes. We are with, there is only, even where we live in Guyana, in Suriname, there is 10,000 Native Americans. My people are with 150 or 200,000. And then you have the city Negroes from the plantation with 150 to 200,000 also. Yeah, that's the real talk. We are with more Africans in America than there is in Native Americans. That's the real talk. And they will, and when we used to tell them that no, this is our land, they would tell you no, the Native American was wiped out. That's why you don't see them. Yeah. Whomever choose to believe their story, believe when you tell your slave story, speak about what happened with your ancestors in your house. You cannot speak on my behalf. It will never happen. Never. Let's get that clear. I'm autonomous, nigga. A slave or a colonized nigger is not gonna speak on my behalf out here, representing the mind of the colonizer. Even if you're psychologist of psychiatry, you're in psychiatry, it's the psychiatry of the colonizer. Maybe you don't have the mind to understand that, oh no, you are colonized, so, or enslaved mind, so, yeah. So let's hear it. Now you was making video about tether. Now this Caucasian is cutting you up. Let's see it, man. That's what I was saying. Taring Nashid is not making videos against this guy, no Matt Walsh. Oh yeah, cause they are together in MAGA supporting Donald Trump. Of course, man. He got money from these guys. Like Nick Fuentes is one of these guys, Matt Walsh's partner. Nick Fuentes and Alex Jones and Crowder, all these guys.
With a West African country you've likely never heard of, the Kingdom of
Now this is
the West African country you've likely.
But this is, again, the low IQ, and that's why I support eugenics, because of people like this. They're quite dangerous. I remind you guys that stupidity is evil. Stupidity is evil. You cannot be a good person while having a low IQ, because you're inevitably going to make bad decisions. Stupidity is truly evil.
Put on a ship to New Orleans was really a best case scenario. If you think American slavery was bad, wait until you see what happened to the ones who didn't make it here. And we'll show you that over the course of this video. But first we start with a West African country you've likely never heard of, the Kingdom of...
Now this is quite curious. He states a West African country, and again, this only reveals that he's not qualified to do what he's supposedly doing. What he's doing is making a mockery of the facts, giving no citations, and he's using ChatGPT to construct a narrative, a propaganda message. He said the country of Dahomey. Was it a country? In the sense that people would understand the term country. It would almost be like calling Rome a country. Was Rome a country, or was Rome a city-state? You know, there are specific terms to describe things that come from antiquity because they were not structured in the way that we would recognize a country. And so this is what happens when you have people who are not intellectually or educationally qualified, the country of Dahomey. So he's now transitioned from a YouTuber with no educations, no pedigree, no credentials, to now an African studies scholar. Extraordinary. Now he's about to tell us about the history of Africa, and he's going to fumble through and mispronounce words that he's probably only said for the first time after reading a summary on ChatGPT. It's extraordinary.
Dahomey. Now, Dahomey was not a peripheral player in the Atlantic slave trade. It was central to it. The kingdom's wealth, its military power, and its...
Now that's interesting, where you see all of these...
Nigga, Dahomey people are in Suriname, yeah? They are Saramakan over there. If you go to Saramakanos, like I say, Okano, the Saramakano, they live in Dahomey. Yeah, this Dahomey is even in the Bible. Yeah? Dahomey is even in the Bible. So when I was saying the Twalufulo, what you call the 12th tribe, we call it the Twalufulo. I don't know. That's what I mean. Like this. Yeah, let's listen to what he's saying, man. Yeah.
Things positioned on this map did do it.
The kingdom's wealth, its military.
And I don't mean the 12th tribe and with what this guy is saying. I'm saying that for those bug-broken Israelites who have Caucasian father from the plantation but still saying Israelism is patrilineal and yeah, but the Caucasian whom you have designated to be the devil is your father, how are you an Israelite then? That's the real talk. Yeah? Your Twalufulo so-called 12th tribe is in the jungle of South America. We don't know you. But be the soldier of the colonizer from the plantation. Let's hear it.
Power
that's for the bug-broken Israelites out there who think they're doing anything. Yeah, because many of them, they came out with the thing, we hate Africans, and from there it spread. Real talk.
That's interesting, where you see all of these beings.
Exactly, and those Israelites got it from this Matt Walsh kind of story from the plantation. That is what my video was all about. That these Negroes were taught on the plantation that Africans sold them into slavery, and in South America jungle, they view my people as African. That's why they've always seen my people as the enemy in America. That's why these Negroes coming out here like we were ever the same people. They are stupid. Go ask your ancestors. They are soldier of the colonizer called Zwarte Jager. Zwarte. Zwarte. Yeah, Zwarte Jager. Jager. And translate to English and you will see Black Hunter. That's you people over there in North America, house Negroes. And this is the story that they told them that the Africans sold you into slavery, you have to hate them. Now you're hearing it live. When I was saying it, these Negroes thought it was a joke. We need to unite. I'm not uniting with the devil. You stupid. These people who have killed my people over there in the jungle doing all these things will come now and say we need to become one. My race does not function like that. Our God does not function like that. Yeah, it will happen just accordingly like it was written in your Bible. When you hurt my people innocently, you are cursed forever. Your children till the end of time is cursed. That's what we know and what I know. Yeah, anybody out here? Yeah, we don't care if you say you're forgiving people or not. You are cursed. That's what I know. Yeah, your culture, your blood is not my blood. Your blood composition is not mine. Get the fuck on with all this fuckery of these people coming now. We're supposed to be the same people. Yeah, right. For you to get a chance to come closer and to help the colonizer and succeed in whatever they think about doing to so-called African people. And many Africans are part of it. Many Negroes are part of it. That's why I'm showing you this. That those Negroes who are saying, yeah, they were sold into slavery. They were capturing people in the jungle in America because they were fighting against my race doing so. That's why I know so. I was not on the plantation. These Negroes from the plantation was coming into the interior with the colonizer, capturing people and selling them in Paramaribo into the cities. Just like they was doing in Africa. That's why I'm making the distinction now that those Negroes are not my people. They are children of the colonizer. Yeah, the colonizer, murderer of my race, will not come into my house and have children there and then leave those children like, you need to, my children belong with you now because, what? You are the devil. That's how you are considered out here, even by your own children from the plantation. For all your deeds you have committed. That's the real talk, nigga. Yeah, the devil will not come and lay a seat in my house and say, this seat is now gonna reside here with you. And yeah, the same ploy they had 500 years ago. Coming to where people live and have children there and with their children attack the local population. Like they did on Haiti with these Dominicanos are mixed Haitian. But because their father is Spaniard or Portuguese or whatever, they attack the Haitian people. Because they was taught this story I'm showing you. It's in Suriname, it's everywhere. Even on Curacao, everywhere you will see the same story. Yeah, real talk.
Positioned on this map. Now this is quite curious. He states a West African country, and again, this only reveals that he's not qualified to do what he's supposedly doing. What he's doing is making a mockery of the facts, giving no citations, and he's using ChatGPT to construct a narrative, a propaganda message. He said the country of Dahomey. Was it a country? In the sense that people would understand the term country. It would almost be like calling Rome a country. Was Rome a country or was Rome a city-state? You know, there are specific terms to describe things that come from antiquity because they were not structured in the way that we would recognize a country. And so this is what happens when you have people who are not intellectually or educationally qualified, the country of Dahomey. So he's now transitioned from a YouTuber with no educations, no pedigree, no credentials, to now an African studies scholar. Extraordinary. Now he's about to tell us about the history of Africa, and he's going to fumble through and mispronounce words that he's probably only said for the first time after reading a summary on ChatGPT. It's extraordinary.
Dahomey. Dahomey was not a peripheral player in the Atlantic slave trade. It was central to it. The kingdom's wealth, its military power, and its...
Now that's interesting where you see all of these beings positioned on this map. Did Dahomey stretch that far? That's interesting. So it seems like it's stretching as far as modern-day Sierra Leone and as far as Biafra here, which we can say would be a part of Nigeria. Let's take a look at a map. I'm just curious. I'm just going to type in map of Dahomey. And it's referenced, mind you, as a kingdom generally, which makes sense, and that would be the same thing that you'd probably do in ancient or medieval Europe, right? So let's look at a map and just see if Mr. Walsh's claim or his visual representation is adding up. So let's see. So here's a map, and we can look at more than one just to make sure that we're getting a level of accuracy here. So on this map, you see Dahomey. Do you see it right here? Can you guys see my cursor? Yes. Yeah, Dahomey seems quite small. It certainly is not stretching the distance that he just represented on that map. Was Matt Walsh trying to misinform us? Is that what Matt Walsh was doing? No, it couldn't be. It couldn't be that Matt Walsh was trying to misinform us. Let's look at another map. Here's one right here.
Yeah, but that's what the thing I was saying, that in the slave days, this is what they was telling the slaves on the plantation for 400 years. That's why when I say they are not my people, this is what I mean, what Matt Walsh is telling you right now. Those when and you would say, but you was together in America, in America. My race is considered to be Africans because we are living in the jungle, in the Amazon jungle. We live like in village, like on the continent. Real. We have our own God, real alphabet, like I've shown you in many videos. Yeah, we are different. They are colonized, man. Anything the same way a European would respond to my people is the same way a Negro from the plantation will respond. Exactly the same. They don't know that they have a colonized mind. I see it and I know it. That's the real talk.
There's no way that the scholar Matt Walsh was misinforming us. There's ain't no way. Looks like my share screen is not working. And a few text. There we go. There we go. There's Dahomey. So we see Dahomey, kingdom. He called it a country. Now, isn't that funny that he called a kingdom a country? I wonder if that was by accident. And you see the small size of it. It is very small. But in Matt Walsh's documentary representation, Dahomey is so expansive. Whoa. That, ladies and gentlemen, that's called misinformation. Oh, Matt, why are you misinforming people? You tried to make it seem as though Dahomey A is a country when really it's a kingdom, and those are remarkably different existences. Country is a modern concept, kingdom from antiquity. You tried to make it seem as though it's so expansive and far-reaching when families and have a picnic with the...
They were the chief.
Africans didn't do this to each other. Slavery, and the Europeans also enacted. Well, you might say, Marquette, well, what do you mean? Don't we generally agree on the definition of words? No, we don't. For example, if you were in, say, Ethiopia and you said, this is a woman, that could only mean one thing, which would mean a female, born a female, and you've reached maturity. Conversely, in the United States, if you say this is a woman, well, that could mean any variety of things, including Bruce Jenner, which used to be the nigga on the Wheaties box who was winning triathlons. So definition is very important, which means that you could actually be talking about things that are fairly opposite or quite different. That being the case, when you describe slavery, the Africans had slavery and the Europeans also enacted slavery. These two institutions being described by the same term by Mr. Walsh are significantly different in as much as enslavement wasn't based on being black in Africa. It wasn't based on your birth. It was based on a whole variety of other things. And also it wasn't cruel, vicious, and evil like what you saw in the Belgian Congo. I shouldn't even call it the Belgian Congo. There's nothing Belgian about the Congo. But this portion of land that came to be known as the Congo that was enslaved, colonized, if you like, by the Belgians under King Leopold. It was considered his personal property. Rubber was the primary export. And they chop off the limbs of children. Yeah, little girls. Yeah, cut your arm off, cut your hand off if you didn't make the rubber quota. Africans didn't do this to each other. This was not the form of slavery you observed in Africa. Were there regular lynchings in Africa? Would you be born into slavery in Africa? Come on. And we're talking about the kingdom of Dahomey in particular. And furthermore, when he mentions that this was a warring kingdom, one of the ways one could often become a slave would be as a POW, a prisoner of war. So if the Europeans come in and they're saying, hey, we have a demand for enslaved persons, and that might also drive war. They say the devil is in the details. Yes, I'd say the devil is behind the wars as well. They're driving certain behaviors. Come on now, let's talk about it. So curiously, he leaves so many terms undefined. He fails to make critical distinctions for the purpose of confusing. African slavery, European slavery, radically different. just as the nature of Africans and the nature of Europeans are radically different.
Dahomey obtained these slaves by deploying an all-female military unit called the Dahomey Amazons. They were the chief slave catchers of the empire. The Amazons would raid nearby towns and return with large contingents of slaves, along with the heads of anyone who resisted. One missionary who visited the country in 1861 described some of Dahomey's soldiers as equipped with 3-foot-long straight razors, which they held two-handed, and which were supposedly capable of splitting a man into two halves. According to one historian, quote, with Amazon...
Now, what I want you guys to understand, and let me go back to this. What I want you to understand is what Mr. Walsh is attempting to do is he's trying to describe the viciousness and the violence and the murderous nature of these Africans, yes? And notice he tries to go into the gory details of it. Ew, it's a propaganda piece if I ever saw one. Now, when we get to the white man's portion, let's see if he goes into the details of how they would take a black man, tar him, feather him, cut off his private parts, hang him, and then sit down with their families and have a picnic with the dead body hanging in the breeze. Let's see if he goes into the details, or is he attempting to establish the nature of Africans to be as vicious as Europeans, which is to say whites, and thereby escape the blame?
Exactly, but that was what was going on from the beginning. That's why I was saying even Indians who came to America and Suriname 100 years ago are coming there saying this story. Yeah, your own people sold. Nigga, we don't know no Coolie or Indians or Japanese or Chinese in Suriname, nigga. We was there with Africans and Native Americans. That's what we know. Alright, the Caucasian came there and did all these things. That's their business. They need to solve it. They told these Negroes on the plantation the Africans sold them into slavery. That's why this Negro is going around trying to attack anyone that they think is African. The Caucasian told them that on the plantation 400 years in America. Yeah, that's why I'm telling them, if you come and tell the story to the continental African, tell them that you are in the army of the Caucasian in America fighting against the Africans in American jungle. Yeah, capturing them and selling them into slavery. The story you're saying about the continent, it was the same thing Negroes were doing for on behalf of the Caucasian in Suriname and across America. In all an English army in those days, because England was the owner of America, there was black armies. Black people were in the armies just like you see black soldiers in Putin army today. Is there black Africans in Putin army? Exactly. Are there black people in Donald Trump army? Exactly. You see, that is the same thing like back then. And when you tell these guys, no, you are the children of the colonizer, you was with them in one army attacking my people. Nah, man, it was not me. It was those light-skinned Negro over there. That's what they will tell you in Suriname. Even Tariq Nasheed said that. It was the mixed babies. It was not the pure blood and those pure blood black one. Nigga, yeah. Yeah, let's say it, man.
Because he's going into unnecessary, really fascinating detail.
Equipped with 3-foot-long straight razors, which they held two-handed, and which were supposedly capable of splitting a man into two halves. According to one historian, quote, when Amazons walked out of the palace, they were preceded by a slave girl carrying a bell. Sound told every male to get out of their path, retire a certain distance, and look the other way. If the men didn't get out of the way, they stood a very good chance of being split in half. The Dahomey Amazons ran roughshod over the region. An American missionary named Jacob Bauer discovered 18 depopulated towns.
So what I would ask Mr. Walsh is, like, are you telling like fascinating, interesting stories of like this matriarchal military force? Like, was that their main military force, or are you just like diving into the part that you think is interesting and attention grabbing? Because I don't think that's true, actually. I don't think that's true. I don't think that's how Dahomey acquired the majority of their slaves. So would you please clarify, or just give a citation that says that that was true? Because the burden of proof it's with you. You have to establish that this is the truth. And since you're going into detail, you'd have to say, you know, there were these regiments of females. These were slave catchers, and their only purpose was to go get slaves. And they were the primary way that Dahomey acquired slaves for the transatlantic slave trade. You'd have to put together that argument, and that would be false. He's actually lying here.
Over 60 miles near the territory of Dahomey. The death toll was massive. Gezo, the king we mentioned earlier, built a palace called the Singboji, which used human skulls for bricks and human blood as mortar. His throne...
Now, what I want you guys to notice is
Do you hear the stories that they told the slaves? These are the real stories they were telling the Negroes on the plantation that the Africans did to them. That's what the Caucasian did. That's why you have that these Negroes still till today. That's why I keep saying they are not my people, because I know what is in their mind, nigga. As soon as this city Negro, plantation Negro start talking about their history, first thing they will say is all these things this Caucasian told them. Yeah, Africans sold us into slavery. And I will tell them, no, your ancestors were in the army of the colonizer of the Caucasian. No, man, it's not true. Yes, go ask them. That's why you are called freedman with a D at the end. In Suriname, it's called Freemangrong. In Rotterdam, in the Netherlands, it's called Freemangrong. I am Kang Kang Freeman. That is totally not your people. Yeah? My people are called Kang Kang Freeman. That's why you see have Okang Isri. Nigga. Real talk. Yeah, that's the real talk. Let's hear it, man.
This is all propaganda, and it's irrelevant to the stated topic. The stated topic was the transatlantic slave trade was not as bad as you think. We've not even gotten to the transatlantic slave trade. He's trying to dive into the viciousness of the Africans. That's what he's currently talking about, which is peripheral. It's a red herring. It adds.
Yeah, but it worked. That's why Tariq Nasheed is attacking all these so-called Africans from the continent and from the Caribbean. It's because of these stories. What are these so-called FBAs all saying? You sold my people into slavery, man. I need reparation, man. That's what they saying. And in Suriname, everywhere, if anybody from the plantation, you meet them, at the end, there's the stories they gonna tell you. They sold me into slavery. They need to reparation. Yeah. Yeah, and those story comes from and they will tell you the Caucasian is the devil, the colonizer who did all these cruel things to them, but they believe that part of the story. Yeah.
His propaganda messaging of, they're just as bad as we were. In fact, they're worse. We're the good guys. Yes, we murdered all of the Native Americans. Yes, we...
Yeah, and that's the real talk. They will tell you should be glad that you are in America and not in the desert in Africa somewhere living in the tree. That's where these black Americans and these plantation Negroes got all those talk from. It's from the colonizer. I know it. Nigga, cause it's been there since in Suriname. It's been there like that's why I was saying when my people I shown you the images yesterday. If they see Caucasian, what do? They run away, because they know the days that the Negroes would bring Caucasian into the jungle in America to capture people and sell them. The same thing they saying on the continent. These Negroes were doing the same thing in America. Go ask them. Just like I said, they were called Zwarte Jager, bounty on Curaçao, bounty hunter in North America.
Colonized and murdered all the South Americans and the
territory of Dahomey. The death toll was massive.
This matriarchal military force, like, was that their main military force? Clarify, or just give a citation that says that was true, because the burden of proof it's with you. You have to establish that this is the truth, and since you're going into detail, you'd have to say, there were these regiments of females. These were slave catchers, and their only purpose was to go get slaves, and they were the primary way that Dahomey acquired slaves for the transatlantic slave trade. You'd have to put together that argument, and that would be false. He's actually lying here.
Over 60 miles near the territory of Dahomey. The death toll was massive. Gezo, the king we mentioned earlier, built a palace called the Singboji, which used human skulls for bricks and human blood as mortar. His throne...
Now, what I want you guys to notice is this is all propaganda, and it's irrelevant to the stated topic. The stated topic was the transatlantic slave trade was not as bad as you think. We've not even gotten to the transatlantic slave trade. He's trying to dive into the viciousness of the Africans. That's what he's currently talking about, which is peripheral. It's a red herring. It adds to his propaganda messaging of, they're just as bad as we were. In fact, they're worse. We're the good guys. Yes, we murdered all of the Native Americans. Yes, we colonized and murdered all the South Americans and the people on the continent of Australia and the Asians throughout Southeast Asia and Hong Kong and Macau and the Middle. Yes, we did all of that. But they are the bad guys. This is his propaganda push right now. And that's why he's going...
Exactly, but FBA is doing the same thing, attacking so-called Caribbean Africans and so-called continental Africans and coming out, they hate us, man. When you're making videos for 7 years attacking these people that they have to leave America, when America, the ground you walk on is Native American land. If you want to come out here and say, yeah, but we prepared the way for you to be in America, Africans prepared the way for you to be on the planet. So take all your bunch, all your business, and move off this planet, nigga. That's the real talk. I'm gonna skip to another part, and you've seen it, man. So these guys are hurting because Matt Walsh is making this video. Man, I don't really care what Matt Walsh is saying because Tariq Nasheed has been 7 years busy attacking and anybody else except for these people. Oh yeah, they are the ones paying him. The MAGA team, Trump and Fuentes crew, Tucker Carlson endorsement. Yeah, you are really great. They will teach you a lesson, boy. I told you you was in slavery, you know nothing. They will teach you. You wanted the immigrants gone? After the immigrant was like a buffer between you, the so-called American black Negro of United States, and the Caucasian. The other way around is the same. Yeah, when if a war breaks out in America, United States right now, you would have these immigrants right there who would help you. Now you are alone. Understand that so-called buck broken Tariq Nasheed? All these Africans, even if they are in the United States and Donald Trump is chopping your head off, they will do nothing. The Caribbean Africans will do nothing. They will lie on their bed and sleep nicely. Yeah, that's what your achievement is met with your videos. 7 years attack. Yeah, you bug brokenness. So, and yeah, man, Marquette or whatever your name is, you're hurting, but yeah. You are hurting, but if it is previous your FBA stuff, I was gonna make cartoons and videos. Yeah, this Caucasian is killing the black American. Right now we're like, nah, man, you said you're the most powerful so-called black man on the planet. So fix your shit, man. That's the real talk. If Matt Walsh or any Caucasian breaking your back, man, you're strong enough, you said. So when it's not our fight. Yeah, that's the real talk. I'm gonna skip to the next. I've shown you many videos where Donald Trump was taking down your memorials, even in Philadelphia. Nobody was making videos about that except for one lawyer, black African American, who was making videos on YouTube, made a video saying, why are you busy with this immigrant stuff, man? They are taking down our history about slavery. And these Negroes did not care. Man, we are being acknowledged. We are getting acknowledgement on television, man. We are global now. Well, you are global. Everybody know now that the black American is a racist, just like the racist colonizer that had them on the plantation. It's in their DNA, some would say. Yeah, so father, so son. At the end, the seat of the colonizer is in many of you. Real talk, nigga.
So
Let's hear it.
deep into something that's irrelevant to the primary topic, which he identifies as primary topic.
Sat on the skulls of 4 enemy chiefs. Assuming you survived a Dahomey raid, which wasn't likely, and were taken captive, it was far preferable to be sold to Europeans than to remain in Dahomey.
You hear that? Hey, let's get out of here, man. Where is there a better place than here with Masa? They even had a name for a disease in America for my people when they was living in the jungle. I forgot how the disease name was. And if you rejected the Caucasian, it was considered to be a mental illness. Yes, it's a mental illness if you don't like Caucasian people. That's how it was in America. It has a name in psychology. I will look it up. It's real. If you say no, man, those are the enslavers who killed my people, man. They will tell you, oh, he's sick, he's got a disease, because you're not allowed to blame us for what our ancestors did, man. What? I didn't do it. But you're taking the profit and all the money and all the building, and you still living on the bloody land. Give it back to the so-called Native American if you say it's theirs. You are civilized, right? Why you not giving it back? And this guy is a so-called Christian nationalist. You see that? They always steal somebody's stuff, like the Americans is bombing and killing everybody right now. 100 years from now, people will find the records and say, hey, the Americans were killing everybody. Who is the American? What do they look like? And in those days, 100 years from now, when it's about guilt, they will point at the Native American and say, they did it. They are the real Americans. Ask them. It's their land. You see what they doing? It's just like these Israelis bombing everybody in the name of Jewish people. When it comes out that they are not the real Jews, they are European from Poland and all those things, they don't have the blood of the so-called Israelites from Africa, Egypt, and Canaan. What will happen? It's too late. When people find the records, Israel was bombing everybody. Now you are the Jew. They will say in those days, the black one is the real one. It was not us. That's what they doing. Committing crime, identity theft, committing crime on other people's name. Yes, we are the Afrikaner, and now this Afrikaner can go out and kill everybody and say at the end, these black people are the Africans, not me. That's what they doing, nigga. You stupid. Alright, that's why they say they are the devil the Bible speaks of. And many black Americans have the same behavior. That's why I told you, in my culture, 70% of all races are evil. Yeah, 70% of Caucasian are evil. 70% of Africans are evil. 70% of the Maroons in the jungle there are evil. 70% of Chinese are evil. 70% of Japanese are evil. 70% of mixed people are evil. 70% of anybody on this planet are evil. Only 30% of them are normal. That is standard on this planet. Yeah, if you keep that, you might make it a day. That's the real talk. Yeah. So when you see all these Caucasian, you must have in your mind that 70% of them are evil. Yeah, 70% of those Africans there are evil. Only 30%. 70% of the Surinamese people are Bakru. They are evil. They know it. I've been making video telling them that. Nigga, don't you see how many people are fighting my videos on YouTube? Let's call the police. This buck broken Adonis life went and called the police. He went and called the police when he was attacking Africans and Caribbeans. There, Adonis' life was fighting against Caribbean Africans and continental Africans. And then I made videos showing him like, hey, this nigga is fighting Africans, man. And then he called the police, the internet police. Yeah, you are sad bunch, man. Yeah, all these things you think you're doing to those so-called Caribbeans and Africans will happen to you. You forgot that they was discriminating you yesterday. Today you think you're gonna do it to other people. That's what I'm saying. If you don't like immigrants, stay in your house, let the police handle it. Why do you have to go out and make videos about kick out immigrants and all those stuff? Is it your land? If it's your land, show us the proof that you are the original Native American or Indigenous American. Show us the proof. Debunk the colonizer. The colonizer said the Native American who came from Asia was in America there before the African was there. Now prove prove that it's different. That's what we say, nigga. Disprove, debunk the Caucasian. Because he is your father. Many of you out there. Yeah, because you are colonized. I'm gonna skip to the next
It was just terrible stuff that he did. And finally, when it was found out.
So I'm gonna show you the part this and Marquette, I don't know what his real name is, but anyways, the movie, the things he was just saying, we will watch a small part of it. What he was talking about, that this Caucasian was saying the cruelty of the Caucasian in slavery in America, the African slavery was worse. Let's see it, man. Yeah, the slavery they talking about in Africa is not slavery. It's if you have to pay somebody and you cannot pay it, they would tell you, hey, your son have to come and work for me 2 weeks to pay that off. That was the slavery. It was not taking you in prison and all those things. These things about black people going to America to work is just like Indians going to Dubai today to build the buildings and the roads over there. It's the same thing. They live in a 1x1 or 2x2 room with 40 men. Yeah, it's the same kind of stuff. That's the way these people was going there in the beginning, going around the world working. And then it became a business. Yeah, they made it into a business, just like when they found this thing about this so-called Christ, what they do? They made it into a business. When they no longer making money off Christianity, what they do? They break off the churches and started with this LT stuff. Let's hear it, man.
They cut the practice out, but the Congo still has never recovered from what happened after colonization. As a matter of fact, you go through Africa, I think that the Belgian Congo was the worst example of colonization. But as you go through Africa, you'll see from, Algeria, Rhodesia, Egypt, all around Africa, colonization had a terrible effect on the Africans. You're going to look at the same thing here in America. As a matter of fact, when you look at America itself, it was colonized by whites, starting with today on the best.
You see that, Tariq Nashi? This is what people expect of black Americans, to be educated and come out here and tell the people what they have learned to better the world. That's what we used to know about so-called black African American, I should say. Yeah? But now we now know that it was a disguise to come out here and trash people you think you are stronger than, to prove something to your colonized father, the colonizer over there. That's the real talk. Let's hear this in African American speak, man. Real
Show.
talk.
The illegals are coming over here and colonizing America the same way the Europeans went into Africa and colonized it. We had better learn from history, or we're going to repeat it. And we're going to talk about that today on the Vince Everett Ellison Show.
What did I tell you? You see that? This is an African from America, nigga. That's the reality. All these things, immigrant is too much. These Caucasian went there and destroyed their country. Killed billions of people, and now you're saying immigrants is too much in your country? Where would they be if you stole everything? You stole all the money, you're stealing all the gold, you're stealing all the diamond. Donald Trump is stealing from Venezuela as I speak. Stealing from Nigeria as I speak. Yeah, and he is the boss of your justice system. Just imagine that. The thief of your world, Donald Trump, is the boss of the police of your world. That's how stupid you are when you think you're gonna come out here and tell me anything. You foundationally bug broken historic na shit. Yeah, let's listen to this African from America. Real talk.
All right, let's get this thing started. You know, back in the 1800s, they had this thing called the Belgian Conference, where King Leopold II called all the countries of Europe together and said, "We're going to carve up Africa." And they all just sat there in this big room and carved it up. And he took this part called the Belgian Congo. And the Germans took their part, the French took their part, and the Belgians took their part, and so on and so forth. Well, King Leopold took this part called the Belgian Congo, and he took it, and they had these plants there called the rubber, they called them rubber tree plants. And Firestone needed the rubber from these rubber trees to make their tires. Now most of these tires are made out of synthetic rubber, but back then they actually had to get this rubber from these trees. And you couldn't get enough of it. So King Leopold would have these trees planted, and he had these large plantations. And he enslaved the whole population. And if you did not pick enough...
So this is the examples, this Marquette or Marquette. But it's Marquette, it's not Marquette, yeah, right? Marquette is a English pronunciation. It's Marquette, it's French. Your name is French. Maybe you have Haitian family and all those stuff. But anyways, man, this is what he was just talking about, that they went to Congo and destroyed Congo after slavery. Yes. After they went from America, they went back to Africa in 1860 and all those days to destroy it. Yeah, real. Let's see it, man.
Well, if you did not get the amount of rubber that you were supposed to get every day, he would cut off your hand. He would cut off your feet. It was just terrible stuff that he did. And finally, when it was found out, they cut the practice out. But the Congo still has never recovered from what happened after colonization. As a matter of fact, you go through Africa, I think that the Belgian Congo was the worst example of colonization. But as you go through Africa, you'll see from, Algeria, Rhodesia, Egypt, all around Africa, colonization had a terrible effect on the Africans.
Exactly. And that's why I was telling this in bug broken Americans. How do you think these Algeria people became light skinned and these Moroccan became mixed and light skinned? Because they went there and destroyed all these things the Africans had there. Yeah, the same thing like what is happening there in America. These people, what they know, but Tariq Nasheed took the money. I made a cartoon about it, so yeah.
You're going to look at the same thing here in America. As a matter of fact, when you look at America itself, it was colonized by whites. Starting as far back as the 1500s, and it starts with a drip, 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 and drip, drip, drip. And after a while, you'll find that the people who are coming here to colonize have taken over. This is happening in America right now with the illegal immigration. And some people here in America are celebrating it because they have such a hatred for white Americans. They can't wait to see the day that they are less than 50% of the American population, so they can exact some type of retribution, either violent retribution or economic retribution.
Land back is going to happen. What we really want you to take away tonight is, as Anthony said, we're in the belly of the beast, right? We're all indigenous people who come from nations that are under occupation by the United States government. And of course, the U.S. bankrolls the Israeli occupation of Palestinian land. They're one and the same, really. And so it's our responsibility as people who are within the United States to go as hard as possible to decolonize this place, because that will reverberate all across the world, because the U.S. is the greatest predator empire that has ever existed, right? And so we want U.S. out of everywhere. We want U.S. out of Palestine, and that the goal is to dismantle the settler project that is the United States.
And they want to flood America with illegal immigrants to make that day come quicker. See, I'm old enough to remember, y'all, when the black Americans were the largest minority here in the United States of America, and we were that until about the 90s. And then when that influx of the illegals came in, we're far below the Hispanics now. We're far below them now. I think we're like maybe 12%. They're like maybe 18, 19%, close to 20% now. And that all came about through illegal immigration. What do colonizers do? Well, the same thing that the illegal colonizers are doing. They come into a country, they take over areas, they subdue or kill the population, and they're doing that with fentanyl and drugs and whatnot. And then they use your natural resources. What is a natural resource? They are actually coming here. Well, they take over the governments first. They take over the governments. You know, in Africa, they go and get the chief.
Yeah, you see the reality talk? You see, Tariq Nasir? This guy is showing you every way what happened. Like, man, all this immigration thing you're saying is just like the Caucasian going to Africa or America, stealing everything. Nigga, and these people you have stolen from, they have nothing left but to come where you live. Because you have taken everything away along with you. Yeah, let's hear it, man.
And then they put a gun to the chief's head and tell the chief what he had to do. And then the chief, of course, would then tell the people what the white folks told him to do. And he would help the white colonizer subdue his own people. Here in America, the colonizers are coming in, and the chief is the Democratic Party. And they come in and they buy the Democratic Party. They do it with money and votes. And the Democratic Party then allows them to go in and rape America. This is what's happening in Minneapolis right now. You have actual Somalians and immigrants in America that's enslaving the American people. We're giving them money while they sit on their behinds and do nothing. This is amazing to watch. The very same thing that the colonizers did in Africa, came in, took over the government, had the government subdue the people for them, and then rape the country they're colonizing by using the labor of the people who they're oppressing.
Yeah, but that's called karma, some would say. I think it's the Indians or whatever. That's what we've been saying in the videos I've been making. Like, man, if you are a colonizer, you're living on bloody land. Why are you complaining about immigration when you are an immigrant living on a forceful engagement with the local population? That's the real talk. The Native Americans so-called don't want you there, but you're still there. You don't want to leave. These Afrikaners, the Africans so-called told them, leave. They don't want to leave. Even they called Donald Trump that if the Afrikaner have to leave and South Africa, and Donald Trump will attack them. But you are a righteous man with a righteous God who is believing that. But crazy people like those and Donald Trump kind of Fuentes and figures in this game, man. Yeah, let's hear it, man.
So as you go to New York City right now, the colonizers have elected Mandani. Mandani is doing what? He's taxing the people of New York City and giving the money to who? The colonizers. Chicago's doing the same thing. Colonizers come up there, they give them they give them SNAP benefits, they give them Section 8 housing, free medical care, free education. They probably would buy them free drugs if they could, and free prostitutes. They give them everything they can give them And the colonizers were sitting up there chilling. While we working. It's like the Congo plantation, man. And we're just doing it. And they're bringing more and more over. They were flooding this country before Donald Trump got here. Joe Biden said he couldn't stop it. He needed legislation. No, you just needed a new president like Donald Trump said. So you saw they could have stopped it. But they chose not to. And that is the question. Why? The cartels pay the Democratic Party to keep that border open so they can send their people up here to colonize America. La Raza always said they were going to do it. They always said that they were going to take America back by illegal immigration. You had...
That's why it's not illegal immigration. You just said it. Take the land back. That's the whole key in the whole speech, man. If it was really their land, and you can prove it's their land, and they taking it back, that's what we're saying. It's not your land because you have people locked up in jail because they have stolen. That's what I'm saying. These Americans have people locked up in jail because they have stolen a candy from a candy bar in a store. But Donald Trump is stealing oil in the open. You stole the land from these so-called Mexicans, and that's why they say they are not illegal immigrants. They are taking their land back. If it's really theirs, they have the right to do so. So they are not illegal. How can they be illegal on their own land? It's like telling an Afrikaner saying to a so-called African in South Africa, this is not your land, man. I built this land, man. Nigga, you came here and you wiped out everybody. You have massacred everybody. What you have built or did not build, we don't care. Yeah, you living on bloody land. That's what we say. That's why this guy has said they will take their land back. But it cannot be illegal immigration because it's their land, like you're saying. Let's hear it, man.
Everything they can give them. And the colonizers are sitting up there chilling. While we working. It's like the Congo plantation, man. And we're just doing it. And they're bringing more and more over. They were flooding this country before Donald Trump got here. Joe Biden said he couldn't stop it. He needed legislation. No, you just needed a new president like Donald Trump said. So you saw they could have stopped it. But they chose not to. And that is the question. Why? The cartels pay the Democratic Party to keep that border open so they can send their people up here to colonize America. La Raza always said they were going to do it. They always said that they were going to take America back by illegal immigration.
You see that? They always said they was going to take America back because you stole it from them. So you're supposed to be in jail. That's what I'm saying. All these things, yeah, they are coming in here. You are living on stolen property. They want their stuff back. That's the crazy thinking that these people have in America and these Afrikaners in South Africa. Even in Suriname, they've brought these Indians there and now they are, yeah, these Indians also have right to be here. Nigga, you brought them there. You take care of it. You stupid. You're gonna take people and bring them to my home and tell me these people now have to live here with you in this home. I'm gonna leave now. Huh? That's what is going on here. These people stole the land of the native, so-called Native American and in Mexico. And now they complaining that they are the illegal people. You see it? With what this Marquette was saying about Matt Walsh? Those who committed the deeds are going around blaming other people. You are the devil by doing so. That's the real talk. I'm gonna leave it at that. You've seen it, man. So, but to me, it's normal. I've told you this was gonna happen. Yeah? You were supporting Donald Trump MAGA team. Now he's destroying your legacy. All your so-called slavery was not that bad, man. You heard what he said, right? Your slavery in America was better than you being in Africa in a desert somewhere. You should be glad that they brought you into slavery in the house eating chitlins and being bug broken for 400 years. At least you are with the Caucasians. That's what he's telling you. Nigga, don't mind whatever happened to you. At least you are with the colonizer that you love so much, Tariq Nasheed. That's the real talk, man. I'ma leave it at that. They said they taking their land back. You can't blame them, cause you're placing other people in jail because you said they have stolen. So since you have stolen, you are supposed to be in jail for 400 years now. If you have a God, that is, and you are living in righteousness. Thought so, nigga. These niggas are criminals, all of them, and that's the real talk, nigga.